Hello, all you hardcore boxing fans out there. How you doing? It's Russ here from Porky's Corner, the voice of hardcore boxing. But then again, you know that, don't you? So that's why you've tuned in. It's fucking wired on my head in. First of all, I want to thank people for joining members area. There's a link below. If it's not on this comment section video, it'll be on one of my previous ones in the last few days because my tech guy is away now for a while. Thanks for liking and subscribing, leaving a comment. Today we've got the hardcore on. Kent from Northern Ireland, Belfast. How are you doing, Kent? You okay?
Yeah, Porky. Yeah, going good.
I had one of your countrymen on yesterday, Friday.
Yeah, Ballymena man.
Yeah. So I thought I'd come in this morning, with a quick chest and tricep Lee Priest workout, and then we'd have you on channel. So are you okay?
Yeah, all good.
Good.
It's been a fun couple of weeks, hasn't
it? Well, nothing seems to change in the sport of boxing, does it? But I'm not bothered because it keeps me doing what I'm doing, doesn't it? It keeps these happy behind me. So everybody's happy, aren't we? So, yep. Where would you like to start, Kent? Where would you like to start?
Just basically going to start off from the heavyweight. I don't understand why people are still asking questions, why and what happened. Do you think that Bob Arum, Al Heyman, Frank Warren all played Eddie Hearn like a deck of cards?
Yeah, I do. For the simple reason that Eddie Hearn's greedy and Joshua. I think that fight will always be there, even if Joshua gets another loss. The fight will always be there. And let me just point out here, right? John Fury were telling people 6 months ago that the Wilder fight is easy because Wilder won 2 rounds out of 19 when Tyson weren't at his best. So if they didn't fight him, they were going to leave money on the table. That's what John Fury were whispering to the chosen few. Now we've got John Fury coming out yesterday or the day before, so I think it was yesterday, Friday, saying that Tyson's took his eye off ball and this could go the way and he's not happy and all that. John, stop lying to yourself and lying to boxing fans. You know what you were telling people. You were telling the chosen few. It's money left on the table and the Joshua 2 fights are always there. So just come up your easy win up against Wilder and move on. But stop trying to build this fight up as a 50-50 because you know it isn't. But, you know, this is how people can be gullible. Did you read the comment section on the BT Sport interview we did? 7 minutes of utter lies and rubbish. The comment section, people need to give John Fury respect for coming out and saying it as it is. It's utter rubbish, pie-hole stuff. But they've got a fight to sell. Nobody's interested in the fight in boxing whatsoever. So now they've got to do a different script. John's in England. He can't go to America, so he might as well fire bullets from England, hasn't he? He can speak to Tyson on phone every day, but he can't be around him. So he's got to go all the way now and make out they fell out. I know because I've heard back off. I'm not going to say who, but look, this is just how it's going. This is how these people are manipulating the media, and they're all falling for it, aren't they? BT know it's a load of rubbish. People in the industry do, but the casuals who are going to buy it don't know, do they? So I'm going to let you know it's rubbish. It's an easy win for Tyson. They wanted the fight all along, but what do you think, Ken? Anyway, I'll have a sip of me Diet Whey banana shake. Go on.
Well, that's you're right, you know, because that's the only people that's going to buy the fight. You know, that's the only people that really buy these pure crap pay-per-views is the casual fans. So they have to create a narrative for them. They have to create a story. They have to create this propaganda that you know, it's a hard fighter. It's a harder fight now that Wilder's got this new coach.
What? Was he coached before him?
Exactly. He actually, this guy actually took a dive for him during a fight, if you can remember. But they're trying to build this up as it's a tighter fight than it was. It's not. Nobody's interested in it. It's just there because it was in a contract and they have to go ahead with it. And to be honest with you, it's easy money. You know, it's easier money for them. It's money that's going to be there. I think I think in 2 or 3 years' time, if two of them are still fighting, you know, Joshua and AJ, and they've losses, they can always crawl back to that pay-per-view fight between each other because of the two heavyweight fighters from Britain. But to be honest, I think it's just lost so much steam now, and people are fed up with the whole crap about there's an announcement. Everybody's pointing fingers at each other. I'm just sick of it, sick to death of it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not good in it, but they've got a fight to sell. So if they can wheel John Fury out every week now for 10 weeks or however many weeks it is to fight, they'll wheel him out every week saying he's worried for Tyson, he's not there, and they wouldn't have took it, and blah, blah, blah. Everybody's going to think, ooh, it's a closer fight than what it were, but it would have beat down last time. They said it would have schooled it first time, a beat down last time. So why do we want a third? Because they want the third. They wanted it all along. They wanted it. John were telling people in the know, we're not going to leave that money on the table. The Joshua 2 fights are always there. No matter what, even if Usyk beats him, if they even fight, they're not going to leave. And quite rightly so, they shouldn't leave that money on the table. So it's one of them things, isn't it? Tyson never even signed the fight anyway to fight Joshua. It weren't even done. So they wanted it all along. They played Eddie Hearn, and I'm glad about that. So well done. But these people are chameleons, mate. Chameleons. They're not bothered. They've got it off to a fine art now. I mean, look at Tommy Fury. He hasn't fought anyone with a winning record, has he? Yeah. He moves every day. Can't even fight.
You know, it's going to be one of these things where John's working for BT now. So John works for BT. So John basically has to sell the fight, as you said. He has to create this kind of story that people are actually going to tune in to see probably Tyson either get beat or be in a better fight. So he's on the payroll for BT. So he's just going to say whatever he's told to say because he's got that broadcasting job. And as far as the Tommy Fury thing, you know, his next opponent is not 16-0. Like what's going on? What's going on?
40 were not and 14.
Well, something like that. I probably is, but I just got mixed up over the number. But if that's the level he's at now, like if that's what they think the level he's at, when's he ever going to have a fight? When's he ever going to have a fight?
They're going to protect him out until they get the Jake Paul fight. That's what they'll do, and that's quite right. So if they're after money, just say you're after money. Don't say you're after British titles and this and that. If you're after money, say it, which they are, aren't they? You can't feed generations of families with belts, can you? So quite rightly so. If Tommy can get a few quid, he's a decent enough kid. But don't bullshit us on social media with all your antics and bullshit. I don't want to hear bullshit. I've no time for shit chatters. There's too many shit chatters in the sport of boxing and people trying to outmaneuver fans and this and that. It's about money. It's not about legacy. Are you there, Kent?
Yep. So what's your opinion on the whole Alexander Usyk and Joe Joyce thing? You know, apparently now that what's going on is Usyk's team, his solicitor, Pat English, was going to put in another injunction against WBO and the whole Eddie Hearn thing. Why isn't there anybody from Joe Joyce's camp doing anything for him? Are these people, are they getting paid, or are they just bag carriers, or what's going on there?
Sam Jones hasn't even got a laminate no more, has he? They've took his matchmakers off him, haven't they, Border Control? So if you go onto the Border Control website, they've suspended his laminate. So I don't know I don't know what he used to do with Joe Joyce now. Is he just like a little cheerleader or a mascot? I don't know. Scam. What are you now to do with Joe Joyce? Do you just wipe his arsehole for him, or do you hula hoop him? What's your job? What's your job around Joe Joyce? Because if you were this big advisor, you'd have gone to a sports lawyer, where you're from, and fired a letter off to WBO, forcing Usyk to fight you months ago. But when you get in bed with Eddie Hearn and he's saying to you, "Oh, just hold your horses, Sam, hold your horses. We're going to get this Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua fight on, and Joyce and Usyk can fight for interim and all that. So hold your horses now." You can't take Eddie Hearn's word as gospel. You've got to go your own route in boxing. You can't just, Sauerlands, they don't put anything like that. They just go, no. We're going to go this route. We're not waiting for this so-called undisputed and favours down the line with our other fighters. We're looking after our guy. Now, who's looking out for Joe Joyce? Because he's knocking on a bit now, isn't he? Hey, old Frankenstein, he's knocking on, isn't he?
Well, he's one fight left in his deal with Frank Warren. There doesn't seem to be anything on the horizon at all for him. He's 30, I think he's like 36, 37.
Yeah.
He's turned pro late. He needs to be fighting. His whole career he's been active against ranked good opponents. And now it's going to be next week. Daniel Dubois, who he beat, is in a WBA interim world title fight. And he's sitting back, not knowing what's going on with his career. Do you think he's been mispromoted and mismanaged since he went to Frank Warren?
Who's this? Are we on about here? Joyce?
Joe Joyce.
Well, he's not exactly Mr. Saturday Night in interviews, is he? Have you heard him?
Yeah.
Could you imagine sat next to him on an aeroplane 5 hours? Like, nightmare, innit? You wouldn't get a word out of him, would you? He doesn't say out, does he? The only person who I think's will be harder work than him is Huey. I've been sat next to Huey Fury on an aeroplane 5.5 hours, and I got about 4 words out of him. But I know Huey is, and I know he's like that. But Joe Joyce, would you get that out of him? Could you imagine being on a plane? Joyce there, Dubois there, Hewitt middle. I either get sat next to Robin Reed, who doesn't shut up, or Huey, who doesn't say out. You've got to have an in grey area, haven't you?
Yeah, I remember Peter said something before about when he's taking Savannah and Shui for a session. He says they're literally in the door, they're on their phones, the session starts, done a session, and literally as soon as the session's done, they're straight out the door, no 2 words said. So yeah, I suppose it's better.
Savannah goes to the gym, does a session, goes. If she's got another session in half an hour, she'll stay, sit in corner in gym, she'll go on the phone. That'd be it. She'll not speak because they're there to do a job, aren't they? They're focused, aren't they? Champions are focused. Savannah's focused. You won't want to sit there shooting breeze with you. When sessions are, you might get 5 minutes with you. Or if you go upstairs, have something to eat, she'll have a chat. Or at night time, when everything's done, she's quite funny actually, Savannah. But Huey will be in his room. He's an introvert. I don't know what it is. Huey's just shy. He don't speak. But everybody's different, aren't they? Clinton Woods will go to the gym. He won't speak. Frotch. They just do the sessions and get out of there. A lot of people, like I've just gone in there, done chest and triceps in 25 minutes. My mate's gone to the gym this morning with his mate. They'll be in there half an hour doing the same, an hour and a half, doing the same workout. But they're attending the gym, aren't they? Talking bollocks about what they did last night. They're not going in there to get it done and get out, are they? And fighters only have so much time in day, don't they? Too many people go to the gym chatting shit or they're looking at mirror posing. Get it done and get out. Do you agree?
Yeah, I suppose it's better than them being on all different platforms all day long, selling themselves, talking about themselves. And suppose doing some of that is okay. I don't mind fighters doing that and creating a bit of a profile of themselves, but not all day long, and all these different social media platforms. You look at the Ryan Garcia thing at the minute, we're pulling out of fights with, the pressure of being this boxer and this social media star has had an effect on him. So yeah, I suppose it's a lot better than hanging on platforms all day and basically losing your focus.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. I agree wholeheartedly with you. Okay, then what else did you have jotted down, Ken?
Porky, so do you think if Matchroom if Matchroom lose Anthony Joshua, and they're on a platform that just does boxing, and that doesn't change. If Keleno goes his own way, we know he will do that. You know, his promotional outfit have now got a promoter's license. Do you think down the line Matchroom are in big trouble, business-wise?
I don't know really. It's going to be hard to tell, isn't it? They're set up for life, aren't they? Anyway, they've got interests outside of boxing, haven't they? Earns. So racehorses and all sorts of things, aren't they? Properties, shares, stocks, you name it, they've got it. So if Matchroom went under tomorrow, they'd still be multi-millionaires. So, but it's not about money for them now. It's just about stepping on people like bugs in it and being this big power group in it. They want to be the elite, don't they? Eddie wants to be one at New World Order, doesn't he?
Yeah.
You can see it's written all over them, how they carry on, how they treat people, how they talk to people, even people that have got menial jobs. I've heard stories at arenas and stuff like that where Eddie Earns give people dressing downs and stuff like that, and you think, geez, speaking to people like that, who do these people think they are? Because they're fetched up. He's fetched up differently to everybody else. Eddie Earns trying to be Essex Eddie, isn't he? Trying to be one at lads. And everybody's going to say, yeah, he's cool, Eddie, and all that. You're cool, Eddie. Then when he leaves gym, people go, what a prick. You see where I'm coming from? Because he's not fetched up like people who are boxers, is he? For example, say there's a certain boxer who's from the streets and been in a bit of trouble in his life, and he's a boxer and he's with Eddie. How can Eddie hold a conversation with him outside of boxing? They're going to have no interests whatsoever. None. But people are going to tickle his hula hoop all day long, aren't they? Because he's the guy with the sweets, isn't he? He's the guy with the sweet shop, and you're the kid coming home from school with 20 pence. You want your 20 pence mix, don't you, from the shop? You want your cough candies, your banana and custard, and your monkey nuts. He's the guy that's got them. So you're going to you, he's your best mate if you're a 10-year-old kid. Well, that's like boxers. He's the guy that writes the checks. So you're not going to go against him, even if you think he's a complete prick, which he is. So I don't know, mate, but I don't care. If I see Eddie Earn at a food bank, I won't even throw him a sausage roll, mate. But that ain't going to happen because these people are too far removed from reality. They don't care about boxing fans. They care about pay-per-view money and subscriptions and driving numbers up, even down to ringing that last few views out of Matchroom YouTube. He's even set his own YouTube up after seeing how successful Coogan is now. I've heard Coogan, and I feel for Coogan here, because let's have it right. Coogan made Eddie Earn, didn't he?
He did.
On social media, and now Eddie Earns thought, we'll do that ourselves now. And he's giving all his pals, Darren Barker and Bellew and all the rest of them, they're all feeding off of that. But Coogan were the one who were doing it over here. He weren't the pioneer, Ellie Seckback were, but Coogan were the one over here. So Coogan really can feel a little bit aggrieved, because if Coogan would have wanted, he could have just put an IFL guy with Eddie every day of the week and have that content for himself. But Eddie thought, well, I might as well have it, because like I said, they want to wring every single bit out of it. Like, do you remember the Matchroom Fight Pass?
Yep.
Where they had 13,000 people. I were one of them. My kid's mum joined it. 30 quid a year. And you got a Matchroom t-shirt, and you got the opportunity to watch shows on Facebook and first pick of the tickets for shows the day before they went on sale. So my kid's mum bought it me as a treat. I says, this is like years ago this. I goes, what have you done that for, you stupid cow? She goes, I thought it'd be a surprise. I goes, a surprise? Are you out of your fucking mind? So, but at the time, I thought it was a good idea because I watched the Facebook stuff and all that, but they never carried it on, did they? They never carried it on. But point I want to make is 13,000 people paying 30 quid. Right? What's that? 13,000 times £30. Well, what does it cost to put a small old show on Facebook, beam it to Facebook, and 13,000 t-shirts? What's that? 13 grand? And then you've got what did they put? 4 shows on Facebook. What's that? 4 grand.
Next gen shows as
So
well.
what? Yeah. So what did they do? They shelled out 17 grand and pulled in. Well, 13. What's 30 times 13 grand? 390 grand. So they pulled 390 in and shelled 17 out. See, I'm a numbers guy as well.
Yeah.
But so he wasn't bothered, was it? If they did it for 2 years, no, a year. They did it for a year. So that were a nice little touch. That probably paid all his staff for a year. Like I said, ringing every single penny that you can get out of the job. And you can't blame them, but their goal is money and numbers. It's not what we, the fans, think, or the hardcore fans, or the super hardcores hardcore like you, Ken. Do you see where I'm, these are the kind of people that you are dealing with. You see where I'm coming from? They don't care for you. They don't care for me. Eddie Hearn don't care for Anthony Joshua. They don't care for him. He's a piece of meat to them. Once he starts getting knocked about on that and they're not doing numbers, he'd be off. For example, he said Carl Froch was his blood brother, didn't he? We're like blood brothers. We're like family. My fighters are like my family. Ask Carl Froch. When it come down to Carl Froch against Julio Cesar Chavez in Vegas, Bob Arum put a letter in from lawyers saying Chavez has got 1 fight left on a deal with me. I want $1 million, Eddie, and I'll free him from that contract. Eddie wasn't prepared to budge off his $1 million from his end at cut, even though he knew all along that he had a deal left with Arum, and he knew it had come to this. He wasn't prepared to budge. So why should Carl Froch budge when he's already agreed a fee? So the fight petered out and Carl retired, didn't he? But the point I want to make is these people are money and ego driven. They don't care for fans. Fighters aren't the family. Is Lee Purdy or Dave Allen? Are they Eddie's family? Because he said they were, didn't he? Well, they're not working with Eddie now, are they? Where's Dave Allen's job at Sky? What about Lee Purdy? He can't even get a job at Matchroom. Sweeping up. What's he done for these kids? There's more than them. I could go on forever. So these people are narcissistic. They want to be a part of the New World Order. I don't want to sound like I'm a conspiracy theory guy here. But fighters, I care for fighters and they shouldn't be treated like pieces of meat. I can go on all day about everything I want to change about boxing. Pensions. I want to see brain scanning equipment with every registered trainer. Why not? Chris Smedley should have it up at his gym. Every time somebody's been sparring, he should be able to scan them. Even if you win a fight in the first round, you still got to be scanned. Health and safety. We don't want fighters talking like really low, do we? I mean, have you heard Dave Allen on TV? Like Scooby-Doo, innit? Do you know what I mean? And he got punched all over for Matchroom. Where's his job at Sky? Where's Dave Allen's job at Sky? Where's his job at Matchroom? There isn't one, is there? See what I mean? So now, Eddie Hearn, fuck you.
The whole thing last week, I thought was a bit dirty against Coogan. You know, you said there that Coogan built the Eddie Hearn, character. They've done a documentary. Basically, he helped build Matchroom with Carl Froch. And last week there, he put the exclusive out, and there was over 400,000 views on it. Now, you know, if he was loyal to Coogan at all, he would say, Coogan, I'm going to do this video. I'm going to put it on your channel first, the exclusive. Then I'm going to put it in mine. And I thought that was a bit nasty. You know, he's actually competing. You know, Matchroom YouTube is effectively a business now, and he is actually going against IFL. That is their bread and butter. That's their business, and he's gone up against that. So yeah, that just shows you really the loyalty and what Eddie has for anybody, and it's basically nothing. So it is. It's nothing.
Coogan were devastated when he set that up, and I feel for him on that. But Coogan is his own worst enemy because he wants to be everybody's pal. He's me pal, he's me pal, he's me pal. He wants to do everybody favours and he wants to let everybody manipulate him. But problem he's got is he's MTK, isn't he? Eddie's not bothered about MTK, is he? You don't really want to work with them people. Do you know what I mean? If Eddie could be happy, he'd want them to jog on, right? Coogan's loyalties are with MTK now, aren't they? He's hitched his ride up with them now. So you make your bed, you lie in it, don't you? So Eddie's gone in a different direction. Every now and then he'll throw Coogan a bone just to keep him happy because he might need him down the line. And that's how people are in boxing. Whereas me, burn your bridges with me, you're gone. So, but everybody's different, aren't they? A lot of people haven't got no pride, have they? They're not all like Chris Smedley, Mick Whale, Josh's dad. Got a bit of pride, them sort of people. They're the sort of people that I like to be around. People who've got something about them. I don't want to be around kiss arses and shit talkers because there's too many of them in the sport of boxing. Shit talkers, you know, going to do wonders. All they do are fucking suck cucumbers. You know what I mean? But it is what it is, isn't it? But
yeah, it's going to change in this next 6 months. You know, you've got the DAZN thing. How is it going to work? Is people just going to pay for a standalone boxing channel with no other content like Box Nation? We've got Sky. We don't know what Sky are going to do with. Are they going to give MTK dates? Is Wasserman going to get dates? And the whole thing with BT now. You know, we know that BT's up for sale. What do you think is going to happen with Frank Warren? You know, this could be devastating for Queensberry. So
well, I hope Frank Warren stays in boxing because I've warmed to Frank. I've given Frank a stick over years because we all remember Nicky Cook, don't we, against Ricky Burns, yeah?
Yep.
And that basically buried Frank at Sky Sport. When Frank Warren put that fight on, he got the noose, he put it down his neck, and he jumped off the whatever they do when they hang the sentence, like that thing at Armley Prison 100 years ago. He hung himself there with Sky. When Frank Warren did that, he went down in my estimation because Nicky Cook were 18 months on a beach in Tenerife.
Yeah.
And he was in no fit state to fight for Ricky Burns then. And that to me said, you know what? That's when you got too comfortable with your TV deal and Sky pulled plug on him, didn't they? Well, they didn't pull plug on him. They offered him loads of less dates and that, didn't they? Shared them all out and he jumped ship, didn't he? He had to do. He had no choice. But I'm glad that Frank's hung in there. But the BT thing, he will have milked that to death. Where does he go after that? I don't know. Will he retire? No. What's he going to do? He's a get up and goer, Frank, and he's got a bit of drive about him, hasn't he? And his lads have got the bug now. So I don't know where he goes now. But if Frank leaves BT Sport, he will find somewhere to work because he will find a platform because it's like a cockroach. He's not going to go away, mate. He's like he will find somewhere. He's got more lives than a cat. So that's how I look at it, and quite rightly so, because he's a good boxing man. He builds fighters correctly. But in recent years, his last 18 months, I think his matchmaking's left a lot to be desired, hasn't it? Do you think?
Yeah, I think the matchmaking in Britain as a whole has been poor the last couple of years. You know, you've spoke about this before. There's a lot more people on boxing now that aren't actually boxing people. They don't come from a boxing background. Yeah. I remember before that we had, Dean Powell was Frank Warren's right-hand man. He was like a coach. He was a manager and he did matchmaking. So
good boxing bloke, him, Dean Powell. God rest his soul. May he rest in peace.
Yeah, Dean Powell just knew everything about boxing. He lived for it. He was a fantastic trainer, but he had that experience of boxing. He knew from grassroots boxing right the whole way through to professional boxing. And there's not many people in the sport now that are actually at that level. People like Joe Gallagher, obviously, you know, he's one of those grassroots guys who's come right the whole way through. So I think the whole art of matchmaking, building fights, promoting fights has been lost. It's just come up, you know, it's just fallen into, it's not really a sport anymore. It's just fallen into commercial business. You know, you've got the likes of Tommy Fury headlining Saturday fight nights, fighting guys that have never won a fight. What's going on? What is going on in boxing? Is it the board's fault? Is it the broadcaster's fault? Is it the promoter's fault? Who's to blame?
Social media is to blame, mate, for letting these things happen. The bigging people up as roadmen killers, and they're not. manipulation of the media. That's all it is. And the board, they have to yield to it, don't they? When promoters put pressure on them. The board have got to eat, don't forget. Last year, the Boxing Board of Control had over £900,000. They never paid a penny in tax. You know why? It all went through as expenses. On average, £18,500 a week, right, was spent on expenses by just a handful of people. What expenses are we talking here? We're talking business class travel. We're talking limousines. We're talking hotels. We're talking gargantuan proportions of food and drink and beverages, whatever you're talking. Are these people having tailor-made suits when they're in Vegas at Mandalay Bay Hotel or Bellagio? Because when you go in there, I know because people have told me, you can go in there and you can have a tailor-made suit and put it on your tab. It all goes on one bill, doesn't it? At Border Control having fitted suits. I'm not saying they are, but I know what used to happen when certain ones used to come to shows in Sheffield, and I used to see what they used to take back to their rooms, bottles of wine and bottles of this and bottles of that. It goes on, mate. These people are like woodpeckers. Peck, 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 peck. Like pecking. They're like me when I used to be a junkie. I used to go around to my mum's. Peck, 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 peck. And I'd not leave unless I got 50 quid. Jump in before Monday, and then I'd just pull up in a lay-by with foil. Then I'd go back for another 50. Peck, 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 peck. Until eventually you think, what am I doing here? True, mate. Honestly, I'm not ashamed to admit it. Well, I am a little bit, but all many years ago. But point I want to make is, Border Control are just like that. Peck, 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 peck. Pecking. Pouncing peckers. That's what they are, mate. Pouncing peckers.
You know, there's things there that they could be getting for fighters. You know, the mobile brain scanning, a mobile scanner. You know, you see the amount of fighters on now getting bone injuries, hand injuries. You know, they should be getting bone scans. You know, you look at the amount of fighters in the last couple of years. You know, you look at fighters like Richie Evett, the Booth brothers, one of those. Well, Nicky Booth. They had just died. They were ex-matchroom fighters. So there's a lot of fighters falling into hard times, drug addiction. They're falling into crime. The board there's nothing there for fighters to even get further education. They all talk about, you know, it's okay, these promoters putting a thing up for mental health on their Facebook pages. What are they actually doing for fighters? They're doing nothing. You know, there should be things there, as I say, for even mental health for fighters who have retired. That would cost nothing. That would cost next to nothing. They could even get them a pension that they can put part of their purses into. That doesn't take much to do. That would be minimum money, and they could still go and do all what they're doing. So yeah, I think the board are to blame for all of it, to be honest. All of it.
Well, the board need to get gone. Robert Smith and Charlie Giles, we're sick to death of you people milking the system, sick to death. Get gone. Whatever you've had over the years, consider it severance pay. Take the train. Get out of Dodge. Burn rubber. Go now while you still can. Boxing fans are sick of you. So I left it. What do you reckon, Kent?
Yeah, I think what's happening now is that they're being exposed. There's people actually having the guts, like this platform, and saying it and highlighting what's actually going on. You know, I think the whole thing has, through this pandemic, it's actually highlighted what is going on. The matchmaking has been terrible. You know, the decisions, the scoring, the judges. I think the only fight that I've actually agreed with in probably the last 18 months was the Josh Taylor fight last week. You know, it was 114, 112. That's probably the best scoring I've seen in boxing in a long time. I had it the exact same, but the officiating in Britain is absolutely terrible. You know, we've got Mark Lyson, we've got O'Connor, we've got all these guys that have been around the sport forever, and it's not a luxury to them now. It's just something that they're used to having. They're taking it for granted. I actually think the judging in Britain now is worse than it was in Germany in the early 2000s and the 90s.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Can we talk about strength and conditioners, please?
Yeah.
Do you feel that they're a great addition to the sport of boxing, or do you feel that they are woodpeckers? Peck, 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 pecking at fighters who are going to get a big payday? You know, like Kell Brook, Billy Joe Saunders, because some of this shower up here at the Ingle gym, I'm not going to mention no names, all them that have leached onto Billy Joe, them that have just been out with Dallas with Billy Joe, and then they did the Golovkin, Errol Spence and Crawford fights where Kell Brook's going up and down weights, and then they're saying after Crawford won, Kell's got another fight in him and behind him and all this. These people, you know who you are. Are these people, and there's others in the sport of boxing as well hanging around, like bad smells. If they were that good, they'd be working in the football industry, wouldn't they? Right, why are these people, these nutrition men and strength and condition men, getting involved with boxers when really a trainer can do all that, tell them what to eat, when to eat, what to lift, how many reps to do? Why are these people pouncing in the sport of boxing of boxers and pecking, peck, 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 like woodpeckers? Why is that?
So it's like this, Russell, you know, you've always got sports, every sport now, whether it's running, whether it's boxing, whether it's cycling. If you go down to the gym now, you're a coach. Everybody's a coach. Everybody's a bodybuilding coach. Everybody's a nutrition coach. Everybody's a running coach. Everybody's a coach. Everybody's a coach of everything. Where if you keep telling someone something all the time, people are going to probably believe it.
Yeah.
So that's why these guys are getting brought into camps, getting a tracksuit. They don't really have a sports science background at all. You know, they've read something off YouTube, they've took something off a website. I just think, you know, it gives S&C coaches a bad name because a lot of these guys aren't actually accredited S&C coaches. You know, you could have a personal trainer down the gym that helps somebody lose a bit of weight and do a workout. Doesn't mean they're a strength and conditioning coach. A strength and conditioning coach is somebody, Russell, who knows energy system development, who knows strength qualities, power qualities, knows about testing athletes. So you walk in the gym, your day one, they'll do a whole test. Clark Fratch will tell you this. They're proper strength and conditioning coaches. Somebody that's just taken someone through a workout doesn't mean they're a strength and conditioning coach.
The mascot, all they are is mascots strutting about.
Strutting
in their ice cream outfits, thinking the superstars all week. It's not about them. It's about the fighter.
So Russell, you know, we've heard this for years. I've heard this for years about Kell Brook, about, he's tied at the weight. We're going to move up. Then they bring him down and they had him in with Errol Spence. Then they brought him up again. Then they're bringing him down again like a yo-yo. And I'm thinking, the last fight there, he fought Bud Crawford. I know I'm going off on one, but he fought Bud Crawford. And 3 years before that, they were saying that he was done at that weight. He was done at that weight 3 years before. So why are they putting him in these fights at that weight that he was meant to be done at 3 years ago? So if you're an accredited registered dietitian and you've seen that someone who at that weight, his body fat is dangerously low, they're getting the fat, they're getting the muscle reserves to get down in the weight, that's deadly. That is going to affect punch resistance. You've got dehydration in the brain. You know, a lot of brain injuries come from fighters being so dehydrated at the weight, their brain actually gets dehydrated. Why on earth are these supposed experts who are meant to be S&C coaches doing this to fighters? Because I know S&C coaches out there, good S&C coaches out there, would not agree with anything like that, Russell. anything. So let's get your mate from down the gym. Oh, he's my S&C coach. He gets me doing a couple of burpees. I don't really think they're proper S&C coaches, to be honest, Russell. Then next, Mark Tibbs will say here, he came into the gym one day and the guy was standing taking a couple of his fighters on the pads. My goodness.
Listen, let me just stop you there. Mark Tibbs went over to Portugal to see Dylan White, so he gets to Portugal, and they're handing him spreadsheets about exercises they'd done to strengthen his ankles. So Mark Tibbs says, strengthen his ankles. What do you mean? Oh, we strengthen his ankle. Well, what's his weight? He'd actually put weight on when they were supposed to be taking weight off. Oh, we've strengthened his ankles. Is this what you've been doing for 4 weeks? Handing spreadsheets out on ankle strengthening. Where on earth does it end this?
It is just propaganda. It's just basically people looking to get in the spotlight, looking to get in to get money out of fighters. You know, a lot of these guys, if they actually really cared about the fighters, they would say, you know what, just come on into the gym and do a couple of sessions, and if you like it, great. I'm not going to charge it, not going to charge you anything. But no, it's all commercial. It's all about their business. Then you'll see down the line, they'll end up boxing coaches. You know, look at Nathan Cleverly. You know, Nathan Cleverly dumped his dad as a coach and brought in his S&C coach and taught him how to do pads, and he ended up as boxing coach. Eubank Jr. was the same. Eubank Jr. brought one of his gym coaches in, actually his bodyguard, and was doing pad sessions down the line. It is crazy. It is. Boxing now doesn't have that. It doesn't have enough old school values to it anymore. It doesn't have those, you know, you look down the line, boxing used to have people, you know, like the Danny Mancinis, Ernie Fossey, you know, these were real prop and boxing coaches who knew a lot about boxing and knew how to get fighters. Jimmy Tibbs down the line, you know, Jimmy was brought in to Terry Lawless's gym in the 80s to help out Frank Bruno and Charlie Magri, and he became an addition. That's how he got into training, because he knew about boxing. He wasn't brought in as anything else. He was brought in to help out as boxing. So what I'm trying to say, there's too many non-boxing people in boxing now, and it's destroying the sport. The matchmaking's terrible, the promoting's terrible, the training. Everyone's a coach. There's not enough proper boxing people in boxing. Peter DeFreitas last week interview, it highlights it all. That's the problem. What's wrong with boxing? There's not enough proper boxing people involved anymore.
Do you know, when you mentioned Nathan Cleverly, then that were a trigger in my head. Do you know what for? Cocaine. When I think of when people mention Nathan Cleverly, do you know what I think of? Cocaine. But it's okay, even though pubs are open, I'm not going to relapse. And also, I don't want people to say, Pokey, please don't leave YouTube.
but that was true, you know. He was on a brilliant run in his career, and
Team Nathan Cleverly.
Whatever happened, you know, but with you know, his dad was his coach, and then all of a sudden, you know, he's got this guy in who was an S&C coach doing pads and stuff, and maybe that's okay for them, but I just think boxing now is everybody's a coach, everyone's this, everyone's that, and as I say, there's not enough old school values left in boxing anymore. It's going to get worse. You know, just there's many. Who could you name, Russell, at the minute in the boxing training scene has been around the sport longer than 10 years? Many coaches.
Flex Ingle.
Who else?
Robert McCracken. He's been around years, hasn't he? Peter Fury. I don't know. There's a few in there, like, but I think Peter's had his about 9 years actually. But there's a few. There ain't many, but there's a lot of these people at the moment who sneak it. Listen, these strength and condition people and nutrition people, right? They get into boxing, mate. They don't get in through back door. They get in through fucking cat flap, mate. And they get into a fighter's head. And before you know where you are, fighters starts thinking, we need to be like Anthony Joshua. We're a team of 30 people. But Anthony Joshua is a business. He's surrounded by people handing him spreadsheets daily. Every time Anthony Joshua goes for a shit at EIS, they have to put it in a tub and analyse it. You know that?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
To see what he's
the difference between EIS and what Anthony Joshua is doing up in EIS is he's getting tested every day. You're right. He's getting tested for power. He's getting tested for VO2 max. He's getting tested for fat adoption. All that, that's all extreme sports science. Some guy, some PT guy in some gym, getting someone to do burpees and run up and down the gym floor and do some bicep curls. That's not proper strength and conditioning training. That's just basic. That's just wishy-washy basics. But everybody wants a piece of it now. It's a part of the business. Then they become coaches. They're boxing experts. They're boxing coaches. I'm just sick. I'm just sick to death of it. It's just like you're either a manager, you're either a boxing coach, you're either a strength and conditioning coach. It's just everybody's just jumping in now, and you don't really need to. Before, even in a corner, you used to have a laminate board license to be a second. Now you can just jump in the corner and do whatever. It's absolutely it's absolutely crazy. So it is. Would you take your car to somebody down the street that said he was a mechanic? Flipping no, you would not. Definitely not. I am absolutely sick of it, to be honest. Sick of it.
Main dealers, I go now and I get ripped. I'm one of them gimps that goes to main dealer, and then I go back and I get to moan about everything when I go back. 120 quid for a valet up here at Europa Mercedes.
I'm sure Mickey Fields would be a bit cheaper than that, Porky.
Did me one for free, didn't he, last week down at his place? Soon as I got there, two guys come up, took make off me, and did a full detail on it. And then we went off, we had something to do. Came back hours later, and we're all done. They buffed it up and everything, even alloys, full detail, talking boot up, alt nuts and crannies, everything it was meant. It's trash now, like I've had my kids in it, but yeah. Proper bloke in Mickey Field, proper bloke. Proper stand-on bloke. I'll tell you what a nice bloke he is, right? And I'm not blowing smoke up his arse here, but I've been really fucking terribly ill this last 3 or 4 days. I did that filming with a production company the other day at Josh Wales' gym. Have you seen that video?
Yeah, very good.
I did that filming there, and do you know what? I got up that morning and my knees were around my stomach, because now I'm down to this last 18 pounds to go before I get my band loose. And I got my knees around my tummy, and I thought, I can't face this today. But obviously they're booked, and you don't want to mess these people about. So I went. I was towing all the way through. I just wanted to get out of there. And I've been bad ever since. And he sent me a picture of something, this John Collis or something, this medicine or something, whatever. He said, get some of that down, you'll be all right. Went everywhere, couldn't get it. Ended up with Gaviscon, which is not what I needed. Anyway, he actually found some and he sent it up to me this morning. It should be here. Maybe Tuesday now, won't it? Because it's bank holiday. But he's actually sent me a screenshot. He's posted me some. Got me some. I said, what do you owe? He said, no, all right, just get you some right. He's proper, mate, honestly. It reminds me how Dennis used to be when I first started with Dennis. But he's proper, mate, honestly. A bit like Peter Fury, Mark Tibbs, proper. Proper people. You know what I mean? And people can say that Mickey's trying to get a few quid off back of John Fury, right? Mickey's a millionaire in his own rights. So why would he need to get a few quid off the back of John Fury, who isn't a millionaire, by the way, but his son is? There's a difference, isn't there? And all Mickey's done, when all's said and done, is accept a challenge from a person he's never met, who said, I'll fight anybody over 50. Mick said, yeah, I'll fight you. They agreed a date, May 28th last year. Then John moved goalpost, didn't he, and said, forget that next month. Be at this gym tomorrow. If not, that's it. It's off. You see where I'm coming from? Then a week later, he started on BT Sport, didn't he? Look, we all know what went on, don't we? But he's proper, Mickey Fio. But yeah, so when I get my medicine, I'll be a bit better. But yeah, my stomach's killing me every day. I think the band's rubbing on me because there's no on me now, is there? Hardly. To what they used to be.
So when you get that £18 off, what are you going to be? Are you going to be a cruiserweight or a light heavyweight?
Light heavy.
Who are you going to call out first? You're going to
Froch.
call out.
Froch.
You're going to call out Callum Johnson or Joshua Buatsi.
Froch said, when you get down to that weight, we're going to spar in Gedling. No body shots though, Carl.
You should wear a bodysuit. You should wear one of the big bodysuits. So you should, Russell, and the big George Foreman head guard. I think you'd be all right.
I'm going to spar Nicky Smedley, I think, at Sheffield, I think, when I get down to my weight, because he's about 12 and a half.
So you're going to be his chief sparring partner for the fireball fight then, are you?
You'll see me on the floor, knocked out.
So did you watch Dennis's show last night, Russell?
No. I was gonna, but now fell asleep.
You need to bury the hatchet with Dennis, Russell, your mate.
Why? Why should I? If people do you wrong, why would you want to bury it? Actually, fair enough. You come here, you know he'd done wrong. We just didn't answer the door. That was July.
Well, Russell, you know what? I don't want to know. It's none of my business.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
do you know what? Fair play to you. You know, I think if that's the case, you're being honest. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I think you're honest and what you're saying, that why should I? You're absolutely right.
Dennis's best night out you can ever have with anybody. It's a fantastic night out, and it's good fun. But doing boxing with Dennis, he's a little monster, isn't he? He turned into a little monster, don't you, Dennis? And it's very hard for me to be friends with Dennis and not speak boxing, because if I see him in a pub, and I will though, you come over and say hello, but I'll just go, whoa. If you want to say hello, Dennis, fair enough, but don't talk boxing to me, because I don't want to talk boxing with you ever again, because I don't trust you with boxing. Anything else, I ain't got a problem with. He's lovely.
Well, fair play to you.
And let me tell you this: his family are lovely as well, and my kids and his kids get on. My kid's mum and his wife get on, but as regards boxing, I don't want to talk boxing with Dennis. You can talk anything else with me, but not boxing ever again. That's just how I am, and I'm not the only one who says that about Dennis. So,
Russell, were you at the Clark Thompson Sebastian Rothman fight?
No, I didn't know Dennis then.
Right, okay, yeah. Just saying that was a great fight. Clark Thompson is like he's another forgotten man of boxing. So he is. Fantastic fighter. I think a lot of the stuff that he went away and won a world title in Germany that nobody seems to mention on Sky. You know, nothing. It's never mentioned on Sky, or it's never mentioned anywhere. But he actually went away in the 90s and won a world title in Germany, which was back then was like mission impossible. But yeah, no, for play to your man, your principles, your man,
Yeah.
and that's the way it should be. I think there's too many people involved in boxing and life in general that will say one thing and do the complete opposite. I'm pretty much the same. I'm like, you know, you're either all in or you're all out. Simple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. But what I will say while I'm on here, well done to Cash Ali. Cash Ali's been in here. I like him. He only fought a donkey, didn't he? But let's have it right. He's got an IBF European belt, and they'll look to get him in top 15 rankings now and do something with him and get him a few quid. So well done to Cash, and well done to Richard Towers, and well done to Steve Crump. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, especially Richard Towers. You know, he's another guy. You know, he come up. I liked a lot of his interviews. I liked a lot of the stuff he said that, you know, Sky as well. They didn't want to even show his clips and stuff, and he came in and he's a reformed character. And I liked a lot of stuff he says that he takes on board. You know, with Brendan. You know, the psychological aspect of people. and everyone's different, and you know, he kind of adapts that to his training, and I think that's marvelous. I think it's brilliant, and
Yeah.
I wish him all the best, and I hope he gets a lot of. I think him and Ram Burnett were great friends when Ram Burnett was a professional, and yeah, it's just great to see someone get a bit of a break, and I think that's his. I think that would be his first champion. Would it be Russell?
Richards.
Yeah, his first belt holder.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, congratulations, Richard Towers. Fantastic.
Cash won a centre of area. We didn't win that with Richard, did he?
No. Well, fair play. That's hopefully it's first of many for Richard Towers.
Yeah. Do you think they'll put him in with Dave Allen now, or do you think they'll put Dave Allen in with a guy who Cash has just beat?
That's the only way. That's the only reason that Dennis would sign Dave Allen. Why would Dennis waste any more money on Dave Allen in 4 and 6 rounders? It's a complete way. He has to pay Dave Allen. He has to pay the fighter. He has to pay the board. Complete waste of money. The only commercial benefit is put him in with Cash Ali. Cash Ali hasn't had that kind of. I'm not saying Dave Allen's a marquee name, but he's a known name. He's a known Sky Viewer name, and I think that's the only reason I think he'll put him in with some journeyman in a show. Then they'll put them together in a title fight. That's the Dennis is not stupid. You know Dennis better than anyone. Dennis is just gonna, you know, get whatever good at Dave Allen's left, you know, before Dave Allen goes on I think you'll see Dave Allen next couple of years just be a journeyman like Danny Williams type. So before that happens, I think he'll put him in with Cash, and Cash will deal with him quite easily, because you know Dave Allen's been saying for a year now, 2 years, that he doesn't train. So if he doesn't train, well, what's going to happen when he fights a live heavyweight?
You can't blame Dennis though, wanting to get his investment back on Dave Allen, though, can you?
No, but because he invested in him, and he invested in him in the first 7 fights of his career.
Yeah.
And he left.
Paid him a wage every week.
That's one of those deals in boxing that doesn't really happen anymore, where you just get a set wage to train. It's your job, then fight. And obviously, you know, he put a lot of money into him and it didn't work out. So of course he's going to get his money back and get Cash Ali a name on his record to get him a big fight. So yeah, he's not stupid. He's definitely not stupid.
Well, you do know that Dennis's last 2 shows, he's had 18 fights, 18 wins, but 16 opponents had losing records, and the other 2 were dog shit.
But that's just right across the board now, to be honest. That's Dennis, yeah. Frank Warren. Look at the Frank Warren shows have been on. They've been terrible. You look at the opponents they're bringing over for like Joshua Buatsi and that there. It's just terrible. It's, as I say, it's the matchmaking and the board. So it is. They're getting away with it, and the longer they get away with it, it's not going to change anytime soon.
Yeah, but you can't have a go at Richard Poxon for what he used to put on and then put that on last night, can they? Or that last week? No,
it's the same thing. It's the same thing on a platform. I think a lot of Proxon shows weren't even on TV or any sort of opera thing. So you can kind of get away with, you know, those dinner show type hotel shows. You can get away with that. But if it's on a platform and people are paying to see it, nah, it's not great.
No. So, are we done then, kid?
Yep.
Well, listen, thanks for coming on, Ken. You've been a real addition to the Porky Express train. And we'll have you on again. I hope you have a good weekend. What are you doing tonight?
Oh, flip me. I think of a barbecue later on.
We're to a barbecue, eh?
I think of a barbecue on. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to a barbecue. So that's the I might get out to me my Brute or Old Spice
or my
match room I'll make it out my matchroom aftershave for later on.
You look like
So, yeah.
you look like an insignia man.
Here, I forgot to ask you, Porky. How did it go with Natasha Jonas? Did she like the flowers and the chocolates?
I didn't send them.
Ah, come on. You built that all up for that?
Yeah, she's too young. Natasha Jonas is too young for me. I'm just gonna watch her from afar.
It would have been one of them things. You just left the flowers and the chocolates at the doorstep and run down the road.
Go on, be off with you. Listen, you take care.
Take care.
Thanks for coming on, Ken. Peace out.
Take care.